Gotta address some things today, actually. First off, you city guys, you all the city guys watching, all right? You guys need to go out and touch some grass, drink some water, go out and just listen to some birds chirping all day. And I say this while being in a city. I live in Dubai, right? But I didn't used to live in Dubai. I used to live in a valley back home. But whenever I see these city guys and whatnot, it just baffles me when I think to these guys like they're so out of touch with reality and they're just completely lost on every single level. Like, yeah, life is good, finance wise, but for the most part, these guys are just lost. Like, they don't even understand how relationships work as a whole. And I'm talking about guys being friends with each other because I mean, you probably guessed by the title by now. But this whole high value garbage that is out there online, which has been propagated by these alpha male grindset bros, is just getting out of hand now. And I bought into that garbage as well, thinking that just because your friend is not high value, he should not be your friend, quote unquote. Just because your friend doesn't have a Ferrari or he doesn't fly in private jets, he shouldn't be your friend. Well, I'm here to tell you that's all wrong. Because just because you think if somebody has materialistic things or they're doing really well off in life, doesn't mean you can count on them as a friend. It doesn't mean that you can just trust that guy and think to yourself, you know what, this guy has my back, when in reality he doesn't. And most guys who are rich and who are material stuff, material possessions, they won't really have your back at times. Considering you just want to think to yourself, you want to go with the entire idea and this preset of, oh, I have high value friends because, the guys do good, whatever. He might hang out with you. Okay, fair enough. He hangs out with you all day. Funny enough. But when push comes to shove and things, shit hits the fan someday, he's not going to be there, mate. He won't be there, mate. I'll tell you. And I'll tell you why. Because if you just think to yourself, like, I still remember, like, some of my friends from back home, those guys I used to I went with to high school and whatnot, they're still there back home and whatnot. And they're living decent life. They're good and whatnot. They're earning. Whenever I go and meet them, like normal dudes, whatever, I wouldn't call them high value on paper or whatever, but I don't need to call them high value or whatnot. I don't really care about that. Simply because I know, like, this guy, we go way back. We know each other. And I know, like, this guy has my back no matter what. No matter what. I don't really care if he has a Lamborghini. I don't really care if he flies private or not. At the end of the day, I know I can trust this guy. I know this is one of those guys. You know what? I'm like, yeah, this guy's trustworthy. This guy can be trusted. Because this whole narrative that's being pushed online, and this has led to more and more men become more and more lonely. Guys don't even speak to each other simply because they think like, oh, this guy's not high value. That guy's not high value. Or the guy was in the fucking kebab shop eating doner kebabs. Well, he's not high value because he doesn't have a Ferrari. He doesn't fly first class. He doesn't have designer gear. He doesn't. He's not dripped out. He doesn't have. He's not hanging out with supermodels. So he's not high value. So why should I be their friend? This whole your network is your net worth type. Like, it is true. Like, you're some of the five people I hang out with, right? But just because, let's say, you're some of your friends who you trust and just want to have a good time with, you don't make money necessarily, right? But you just go out, have a fun time, and it helps you. It's not wrong to have such type of friend, considering you can trust that guy. Most importantly, that guy was there. You just have a fun time with a normal life. Like, just you go out and have food with him, you just talk about the good old days. That's fine to do as well. You shouldn't always be talking about how you're gonna take over the world or how much money you have to make the next day and whatnot. It's okay to live life normally sometimes. It's okay, and it's okay to hang out with people who are just who you know from back in the day who live decent lives. Nothing is wrong about it. Just because they're not high value on paper, just because they don't have these material things, doesn't disqualify them as humans. Like, what is the point? Okay, how many cars are you gonna drive after that? Let's say the guy has 10 cars and he gives you 2 cars to drive every week. You're gonna get bored anyways. That's human nature. And what is your trust built off of at the end of the day? Material transactions, that's your trust, instead of actual brotherhood, actual, how do I say, masculine essence, instead of actual, how do I say, hardship. Like, these things are actually what determine your relationship, you know, your relationships with guys. That's what actually determines it. It's really good if you try to base off your, let's say not now, but in general, like if you base off your relationship with guys who've been through the trenches together, for instance, I would say. One of the guys I know who works in sales as well, works in high tickets as well. Jack, shout out to Jack, by the way. He's a real good lad from Scotland. Him and I, we've seen like both. Like when we joined, when we joined this training program once, we both were like bottom of the barrel, like down and out. Like we were both in debt at that point, and we kind of had to clear it off and move out as well. Long story short, we both left the mentorship and got kicked out. To be fair, because it was like, well, what can we do here? We can't really pay it off because we're in debt at this point. But that's the bottom line. Like I know that guy now, and even though we haven't met each other yet, we just met from the training program. I know that guy like kind of. I almost feel like, oh, I just know this guy for some weird reason. I just know him. It's like even though we never met him, and I'm not saying just like, oh, any just try any guy you see online or whatnot, but we were in the same process. We were in the trenches together, trying to make it work out. If it didn't or did not, that's a different story. But that's the whole point of it. Like having someone who went through that hardship with you actually helps. I can say this for at least the relationships and connections that you have with guys. In that case, it works, not necessarily with females because it's different and it's a whole different topic. I don't want to go into that because it's not a dating channel. You want to go and find that content? There's plenty of content online where you can find that. But in any case, if you just feel like your friends are not high value, or you feel like your friends are not there yet, or you feel like they're not at your level, doesn't mean you should just stop hanging out with them. It's not a. I mean, you don't want to be a dick to other people, right? You shouldn't. And that's what I believe in. You shouldn't be a dick to other individuals. And I wouldn't as well. Even though I kind of bought into that garbage idea once, I was like, oh, just because people around me are not high value, I'm like, instead of worrying about how high value other people are, be the most valuable stuff that you can be as a person. And that starts with you. That starts with your character, not with your material stuff for the most part. That starts with your character and your own conviction as a human being. That determines your own ability to showcase how valuable you truly are. Not the fact that you know some guy who has like, okay, connections help, big deal. But at the end of the day, it's not a bad thing to know a guy who lives a normal, decent life. It's not there's nothing wrong with that, mate. There's nothing wrong with that. This whole garbage idea that is perpetrated online by all these guys that if you're not around guys who are millionaires, you're losing somehow. Like you can do business with guys and still not be friends. I mean, just say it right now. You can be friends with someone and not do business with them. That's completely fine as well. But at the end of the day, it's just human connections and people you actually trust. It might not always be the guy who's the richest. It might not always be the guy who's the most powerful. It may be some guy you knew from back in the day who you knew from like high school, whatnot. But at the back of your head, you were like, you know what? I can trust this guy. I know he's a real one. And I don't mind trusting him whatsoever. Like, this is such a simple concept, but so many guys have bought into this weird analogy of, oh, if my friends are not high value, then what am I doing with my life? This is not a lost ask. This is such a weird way to look at life, honestly. Like it can keep you like you can have categories with people you meet, your friends, the guys you do business with. You can mix them too. Oh, of course you can, but you don't have to mix them all the fucking time. Like you don't have to mix every single time. Like oh, I hang out. Now I don't mean to say that you should be hanging around with bums. That's not my point. I didn't say that. Just because if the guy's doing nothing with their lives, even though you knew him from back in the day, well, you know for a fact he's not going to do anything with his life. So why even trust him, mate? This is for guys who you might be looking at. You're like, okay, these guys are these they're decent folk. They may not be like these on point, Instagram millionaires, but who cares? I can trust these people. They're decent folk. They're actually doing something with their life. I'm not telling you to trust some crackhead from back in the day, from high school, who's still doing crack at the end of the day. That's not my point. That's pretty dumb of you to actually do that. Don't take it in that way. This video is not about all that. Avoid bad company as a whole. Doesn't matter how long you knew that guy. Doesn't matter how good of a friend he was back in the day. If he hasn't changed yet, he's still not going to change. That's the reality of the world we live in. And most people barely change. Remember that as well. So yeah, that's the lesson for today. To you guys, well, not necessarily to you guys, myself included, because this is what I like to remind myself. This is what these videos are all about. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Cheers.